This is Dr. Bev Knox, and you are listening to my psychology tutorials, Learn Psychology While You Sleep. The information processing approach analyzes how individuals manipulate information, monitor it, and create strategies for handling it. Attention, memory, and thinking are involved in effective information processing. The computer was served as a model for how human processes information. Capacity and speed for processing information, often referred to as cognitive resources, increase across childhood and adolescence. Changes in the brain serve as biological foundations for developmental changes in cognitive resources. In terms of capacity, the increase is reflected in older children being able to hold in mind several dimensions of a topic simultaneously. A reaction time task has often been used to assess speed of processing. Processing speed continues to improve in early adolescence. Unlike Piaget's theory, the information processing approach does not portray development as occurring in distinct stages. Instead, this approach holds that individuals develop a gradually increasing capacity for processing information, which allows them to develop increasingly complex knowledge and skills. Like Piaget's theory, some versions of the information processing approach are constructivist. They see children directing their own cognitive development. Attention. What is attention? Attention is the focusing of mental resources. 4 ways that children can allocate their attention are selective attention, which is focusing on specific aspect of experience that is relevant while ignoring others that are irrelevant. Divided attention, concentrating on more than one activity at a time. Sustained attention, maintaining attention to a selected stimulus for a prolonged period of time, also referred to as focused attention. And executive attention, which is planning actions, allocating attention to goals. Attention in the first year of life is dominated by the oriented investigative process. Joint attention increases an infant's ability to learn from others. In childhood, salient stimuli tends to capture the attention of the preschooler. After 6 or 7 years of age, there is a shift to more cognitive control of attention. Young children especially make advances in executive and sustained attention. Selective attention also improves through childhood. Children's attentional skills are increasingly being found to predict later cognitive competencies such as school readiness. In adolescence typically have better attentional skills than children do, although there are wide individual differences on how effectively adolescents deploy their attention. Multitasking is an example of divided attention, and it can harm adolescents' attention when they are engaging in a challenging task. Memory. What is memory? Memory is the retention of information over time. How information is initially placed or encoded into memory, how it is retained or stored, and how it is found or retrieved for a certain purpose later. Short-term memory involves retaining information for up to 30 seconds, assuming there is no rehearsal of that information. Long-term memory is a relatively permanent and unlimited type of memory. Working memory is a kind of mental workbench where individuals manipulate and assemble information when they make decisions, solve problems, and comprehend written and spoken language. Many contemporary psychologists prefer the term working memory over short-term memory. Working memory is linked to children's reading comprehension and problem solving. People construct and reconstruct their memories. Schema theories state that people mold memories to fit the information that already exists in their mind. Fuzzy trace theory states that memory is best understood by considering two types of memory representation. 1. Verbatim memory trace, and 2. Fuzzy traced. According to this theory, older children's better memory is attributed to the fuzzy traces created by extracting the gist of information. Children's ability to remember new information about a subject depends on what they already know about it. The contribution of content knowledge is especially relevant in the memory of experts. Experts have a number of characteristics that can explain why they solve problems better than novices do. In infancy, infants as young as 2 to 3 months of age display implicit memory, which is memory without conscious recollection, as in memory of perceptual motor skills. However, many experts stress that explicit memory, which is the conscious memory of facts and experiences, does not emerge until the second half of the first year of life. Older children and adults remember little, if anything, from the first 3 years of their lives. In childhood, younger children can remember a great deal of information if they are given appropriate cues and prompts. One method of assessing short-term memory is with a memory span task, on which there are substantial developmental changes through the childhood years. Children's memory improves in elementary school years as they begin to use gist more, acquire more content and expertise, develop large memory spans, and use more effective strategies. Organization, elaboration, and imagery are important memory stages. Current research focuses on how accurate children's long-term memories are and the implications of this accuracy for children and eyewitnesses. Thinking. What is thinking? Thinking involves manipulating and transforming information in memory. Thinking helps us reason, reflect, evaluate, solve problems, and make decisions. Studies of thinking in infancy focus on concept formation and categorization. Concepts refer to cognitive groupings of similar objects, events, people, or ideas. Infants form concepts early in their development, with perceptual categorization appearing as early as 3 months of age. Mandler argues that it is not until about 8 to 9 months of age that infants form conceptual categories. Infants' first concepts are broad. Over the first 2 years of life, these broad concepts gradually become more differentiated. Executive function involves managing one's thoughts, to engage in goal-directed behavior, and to exercise self-control. Mindfulness is an important aspect of critical thinking. A lack of emphasis on critical thinking in schools is a special concern. Children and scientists think alike in some ways, but not in others. Problem solving relies on the use of strategies and rules. Even young children can use these problem solving skills in some circumstances. Key changes in information processing during adolescence especially focus on executive function. These changes include monitoring and managing cognitive resources, engaging in critical thinking, and making decisions. It is increasingly thought that executive function strengthens during adolescence. Adolescence is an important transitional period. Increased ability to construct new combinations of knowledge and increased use of spontaneous strategies. What is metacognition? Metacognition is cognition about cognition, or knowing about knowledge. The child's theory of mind refers to a child's awareness of his or her own mental processes and the mental processes of others. As children progress through the elementary school years, they make more realistic judgments about their memory skills and increasingly understand the importance of memory cues. Adolescents have an increased capacity to monitor and manage resources to effectively meet the demands of a learning task. Although there is a considerable individual variation in cognition during adolescence.